In the blue corner, wearing dark blue trimmed with silver, official weight 237 pounds, professional record 69 victories, including 43 knockouts, with 4 defeats, 2 bouts even, and 1 no contest. From Detroit, Michigan, the challenger, former middleweight world champion, former super middleweight world champion, former cruiserweight champion of the world, James Lights Out TONEY. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trimmed with red, official weight 238 pounds, professional record 41 victories, including 33 knockouts, with 5 defeats and 1 draw. From Baltimore, Maryland, the reigning, defending, 2-time WBC heavyweight champion of the world, RAHMAN.
All right, boxers, you both received my instructions in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands. All right, last but not least, protect yourself at all times. All right, let's touch gloves. Let's go.
The heavyweight division seems to fans like an army of rabble looking for a leader. Is he in the house?
RAHMAN has never looked physically better as he goes to the center of the ring. Will it make a difference? One interesting bond between the two corners. Both fighters are trained tonight by former proteges of Eddie Futch, one of the most successful trainers of heavyweight fighters ever, a man who trained Joe Frazier and Riddick Bowe and Kenny Norton to the heavyweight championship of the world. Of the two proteges, Thel Torrance, who trains RAHMAN, and Freddie Roach, who trains Tony, Roach has been the more successful as his own guy.
Roach has been very, very successful. And he established himself as a top trainer, and not just as an assistant to Eddie Futch, and also was managed by Eddie Futch. Thel Torrance needs a good victory here tonight to establish himself.
And RAHMAN seems to rock Tony with a right hand over the top. RAHMAN told us yesterday he would jab to the body, he would hit whatever he could find on Tony, he would keep hitting every space he could find until the middle rounds when he thinks he might be able to get to Tony's head. So far in the first round, Rock has shown that he's planning to do exactly what he said he would do. Tony now crashing his own punches to the body. James is by nature a counterpuncher. He'll look for RAHMAN to lead and then respond in kind.
It seems as if the extra weight that James has really slowed him down a lot. Even though he hasn't been hit too much except for that one right hand, his movements are very, very slow right now.
And RAHMAN is able to land his jab, pumping it into Tony's face there twice in a row. The night that RAHMAN beat Lewis, he got Lennox fatigued in the early rounds by working his jab and making Lennox defend it.
It's interesting that James predicted he would knock out Rockman, and it's interesting because he hasn't knocked out any quality big guys too much, but he's predicting a knockout in this fight.
There was a good left hook inside by RAHMAN there that landed flush on Tony's chin. Sometimes I think James says things like that, Emmanuel, to try to make the other fighter come at him more aggressively and set up counterpunching opportunities.
But I think also when he talks a lot like that, he really is like conditioning himself. You know, you say something enough and hear it enough, you pretty soon you start believing it.
And RAHMAN twice lands his jab there and pops Tony's head backward with it. RAHMAN getting in body shots on the inside, as does James Toney. If there's an edge in the first round, it would seem to belong to RAHMAN, who has been very effective with his left hand.
I'm surprised he hasn't thrown more right hands. He landed one right hand was very effective, and even a little clubbing right hand there.
There's a clubbing right hand inside, as Emmanuel pointed out, on the cheek of James Toney. Tony has landed some body shots. But by and large, to the degree that anybody's gotten anything upstairs, it's been Rahman, and earlier in the bout than some thought would be the case. Good body shot by Toney with the right hand.
Tony's working a nice little jab up in between the gloves of Rahman also. Landed a jab in there again.
And Rahman getting in one more right hand. It didn't land flush, but he got a partial land out of it as the round came to a close.
Okay. Okay, Rob. I want you to start going to the body. Put that, look here. Keep putting that jab behind the face. Keep jabbing the head and jab to the body. Jab the head, jab, and put that right hand right on that shoulder. And then put it on the
body for me, okay? All right? Now, don't let him get that jab off. You see that jab come, pick that jab off, and counter yours, okay? All right, you're quicker than he is, okay, son? All right, that boy.
Being patient.
Nice, that's good body work. Behind the jab, good body work. Good job.
Most interesting number from CompuBox in round one. Hasim Rahman threw 35 jabs. That's a bunch. Landed 13. On the basis of that effectiveness, perhaps he had the edge in the round.
I think the most important indication in that fight, guys, is that Rahman has not gone right hand crazy. He's not trying to knock him out with one big punch. He's going after the body like he is here. Just hit him wherever you can, because fellas, fighters who are clever as Toney are very hard to hit with big punches.
Toney walked into a jab as he was coming in. Rahman continuing just to try to get leather on Toney wherever he can. Toney with a right hand to the body. Rahman landing a little left hook upstairs. Chopping right hand again. Inside by Rahman. Much more active in the early going than Toney might have expected him to be. And Rahman lands another right cross across the top. Toney lashing back with body shots of his own. Toney seeming to focus at least as much on the body as does Rahman at this point early in the fight. And again, Hasim Rahman double pumping and landing his jab.
His jab is working very good. He's being very physical right now with James, but I think it's very smart. When he gets in close, he's got to push in his left hand on the side of James's head instead of just pulling it back. But doing a lot of nice things, very physical.
Good pot shot right hand over the top by Toney. Rahman took it very well. Toney's not a big puncher with one punch at a time. When he hurts people, it's via the accumulation of punishment, as was the case when he wore down Vasily Girov in the cruiserweight division. Girov had Bell Torrance in his corner. Torrance is, of course, in Rahman's corner tonight. Toney seems to fall sloppily into the ropes on his feet there.
I don't think he's hurt. I think he just pulled Rahman in, and in this type of a situation, Toney is way more effective in there with short punches.
I agree, and he whacks Rahman with a quick right hand inside. But a good left hook by Rahman and a series of punches. He continues to land in close. Toney hits him flush in the jaw with a right hand punch. Good shot, good uppercut by Toney. Rahman pounding away to the body.
This could turn out to be a tremendously exciting brawl, and if they keep fighting this way, Toney has a very good chance of possibly even winning the fight.
Here's the first real clinch of the fight as Rahman grabbed Toney and then stepped away. By and large, they've been trading, even at close range.
You know, it's Rahman is sort of asking the question. You know, being fat has to count for something. You just can't be fat and not have to pay for it.
They continue to trade at short range. No big advantage to either guy. Who can handle the attrition over the long haul? This is the second round, and they're fighting at a very fast pace for heavyweights. One more jab for Rahman to punctuate the round. A really good start to the fight.
Don't lay inside. When you go to the rope, I want you to use your jab. Don't lay in there, okay? Now, right hand, don't finish your punch with the right hand. If you throw the right hand, you got to come back with the hook, okay? He's leaning on this side here, and he's trying to bait you in and throw those shots up. So I want you to
keep picking your shots like that, son. Okay? Now, I want you to roll with that right hand for me, okay? shot, okay?
Here you see Tony land the right hand, but still, I think with all of the extra weight that he's got, that just made him lose his balance. And I think as the fight goes on, the weight is going to become a factor there, because it's particularly when he has to move. He doesn't move too well. As long as you're fighting in close where he doesn't have to move, he can be very cute with those little short punches.
You saw some of James Toney's counter-punching skill off the ropes there. In round 2, Asim Rahman threw 79 punches. That's a big punch output. Landed 26. James Toney, 25 out of 61. Heavyweight average is 48 thrown per round. Together, they threw 140 punches in the last round. Big right hand up top by Toney. Rahman handles it easily. Hand comes forward.
Toney now trying to counter that left hand that Rahman has been effective with.
Rahman crashing a right hand off Toney's skull and gets him with a good right cross inside against the ropes. Another good right hand for Rahman as he blocks away. Toney swinging hard with the right hand over the top, partial land. Rahman with a right cross, Toney with a right hand counter. Both guys landing effectively.
You know, Toney has hands like a middleweight. He's got small hands. They're not a heavyweight's hands. So he's going to have to land a lot of those to get Rahman's serious attention or to hurt him. And Rahman has been hurt in fights before.
So far, the most dominant and telling thing right now has been Toney countering with the right hand when Rahman throws his right hand. James rolls his shoulder and comes back with a little short right hand that's been effective, but the weight and the size of Rahman is beginning to take his toll.
Because the fighter he moves when he gets hit is Toney. You saw him careen into the ropes a couple of minutes ago. By and large, Toney lands flush with his punches, but Rahman keeps walking through them. Rahman is able to knock Toney back when he lands.
It's something that Larry said earlier. It's very true. I mean, you can't have all of that weight and then not show up and have some type of a price you pay for it. And I think that's a very smart move that Rahman does when he pushes that left hand on the side of James Toney's neck. But the physical size of the hands is another big factor. James Toney has hands like that still of a middleweight. I see Rahman is one of the biggest hands I've ever saw, and that's saying a lot to me, the hands I've got the Lennox Lewis and the Klitschko's. I see Rahman's hands is extremely huge.
Why does it matter?
I think because it actually shows punching power. I mean, most of the guys with big hands usually that shows strength.
Lennox Lewis and George Foreman certainly had big hands. Rahman, I believe, has bigger hands than either of those two guys.
He does, and James is
Toney pops him with a left hand as he backs away. James Toney's counter-punching skills still there.
They're still there, but I think the physical side of this man being a real true heavyweight, it's going to be very difficult for James to hurt him effectively.
Larry, are you surprised that the odds did not drop significantly after Toney weighed in at 237?
I'm not, because I just think that it's out there in the ether that this is who this guy is. The rounder he gets, the better he gets. He hasn't lost a fight in 9 years, fighting a guy who hasn't won an important fight in 5 years. That's what's important. Terrific round.
They trade all the way through the third. Both guys making a lot of contact, and the crowd comes to its feet in appreciation of a heavyweight title fight.
It's a very exciting fight. I just seem like Rahman has been able to take the blows better now.
Beautiful. Take him to school.
Boxing, moving your head, use those feet.
Yeah, don't worry about all that stuff. You got just keep there. Keep jabbing. Keep jabbing the body. Every time you go to the last, jab the body.
Well, what you can see right here, you see Toney landing the punches pretty much at will because he's very crafty, knows how to pick his shots better. Just to me, they don't seem to have the effect, though, that they should have, especially when they're landing with full force and cleanly.
Yeah, but they're very graphic punches, and even the blindest of judges will see his punches land so effectively.
Particularly when he lands more than half the punches he throws in a round, as he did there, landing 31 out of 57. Rahman, who was in shape to throw 79 punches in the preceding round, threw 84 in that round. Extremely busy. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
I'm not blind judge, Larry. 2 rounds to 1. 29, 28, James lights out Tony. I'm seeing that right hand over and over and over, landing on Rahman's jaw. I got to tell you something. If Hasim Rahman goes into those ropes and chases James Toney, he's going to get killed. James Toney's just too crafty and lands that right hand too often. 2-1, Toney.
That's the scorecard that Toney bettors were anticipating. A scorecard that pays honor to Toney's greater craft and his quick hands. Rahman gets in a left-hand body shot, continues to throw a large number of punches. James Toney has his mouth wide open and is breathing through his teeth.
James is tired, but he has the ability to suck it up, and he boxes so many rounds in the gym that he's used to fighting tired. And I tell you what, if both of them never get exhausted, James Toney would be able to fight better while he's tired than Rahman.
Well, it's often been said that he's the most relaxed fighter we've seen. This is a guy who could fall asleep in a dentist chair. And that seems to get him through fights where he looks tired early and nothing further happens to him. He'll just fight this way for 12 rounds.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from all those years of sparring so many rounds. He's totally comfortable in the ring. And when he first started his career, he had his trainer, Bill Miller, used to spend a lot of time with him showing him those old fight films of the fighters that relax and how to roll your shoulders. So between the two of them, he's a very relaxed fighter.
They continue to trade at close range. Emmanuel, James Toney is looping that right hand from somewhere behind his back all the way over the top and landing it seemingly at will.
Yeah, he's landing it. Very
Why can't Rahman get out of the way?
Well, Rahman is not really it takes a great defensive fighter. Rahman is sitting in the women's fight just on what he's doing there. Just physically being a bigger man, and that's it. By pushing that left hand over his face and just mauling him.
I think that's the plan, to keep going to the body, breaking him down, and hope that in the last third of the fight that he can hurt him.
Toney's punch output seems to have dropped a little bit in this round. As through part of the round, he seemed to be trying to get a bit of a breather. Now Toney starts to throw punches again in the last 30 seconds of the round, perhaps trying to steal it. Rahman has been consistent throughout the round, landing his jab and sometimes punches inside, not landing anything really big.
He is crying. You know how to conditioning you got, baby. It's all in there. It's all in there.
Okay. Okay, where's the ice pack?
The ice pack.
Right. Okay. All right.
Ice pack.
And, okay, Rock, listen. When you go to Rock, listen to me. When you go to the rope, don't lay on it. Use your jab. Just win the round with your jab. Okay, and keep sticking his body.
Coming back to the headshot from there, okay? All right? The overhand right's working well for you, and the left hook's right there behind you, okay? He can't handle combinations. You're too quick for him, okay? No single punches, little combination, right? Little angles. There you go.
Come on.
Average punches per round through round 4. Rahman 22 out of 75, Toney 25 out of 57. Toney landing at the much higher connect percentage, but Rahman throwing more punches and continuing to throw an average of 30 jabs per round. And you heard Thel Torrance say, just win the rounds with your jab. And he comes out and throws 6 more jabs to start the 5th round.
Rahman should be very, very, very happy that Toney is not really a truly big heavyweight puncher, because the punches that he's been hitting Rahman with, he would probably have knocked him out by now. He's hitting with some tremendous right hands.
If Thel Torrance has the right game plan, Rahman is listening to him well and doing exactly what the trainer wants by and large. Toney looping that right hand again, but by and large landing it one time and then waiting for another punching opportunity. Right hand for Rahman, Toney misses with his. That was a good moment for Hasim. Little left hook inside for Rahman. Toney misses again with the right hand. When Rahman dominates with his jab, Toney isn't as accurate with the right hand.
Rahman's jab is a very effective weapon right here. And you see that extra weight when James misses a punch. He can't maintain his balance anymore. The weight is taking this big toll on him right now.
And now you see how well Rahman is listening to Del Torrance. Torrance told him, don't follow Tony when he goes to lay against the ropes. Rahman backed away and waited for a chance to fire the jab again.
James is fighting a very good fight at this stage, but looking ahead, it doesn't look too good for him going down the stretch. He doesn't seem to have the stamina or the punching power to hold this man off.
He looks as though he's run out of gas considerably already in the 5th round. Still accurate, still landing particularly with the right from time to time. But as you say, Emmanuel, his balance doesn't look good. He looks like a tired fighter.
Well, that's when I notice whenever a fighter's shot or either his elbow out of shape or something, it's where they miss a punch. They can't maintain their balance good. Compared to when they're young, they can regroup and come right back with another punch.
Well, Freddie Roach wanted him to come in at around 220. And Tony just, although he works hard in the gym, he works harder with the refrigerator.
I still say that if Rahman would shoot a straight, hard right hand straight across the shoulders, James would be in bad shape. Now, even though he's rolled some of them, but if he starts shooting them fast with good power, James is going to get caught sooner or later with that shot.
Rahman now blocking shots inside with his gloves. Tony has not been able to land with nearly the consistency in this round. And again, I think fatigue is setting in for James Toney and affecting his ability to counterpunch.
Rahman's got a cut over his left eye.
That could be from the series of right hands.
All right, give me this one. All right, son, that's very good work out there. Just keep working this guy.
Get the head. Get the heads up. Look, all you got to do is keep it one in the grip.
Close your eyes, close your eyes.
You throw your right hand. You know, come back with a jab. But listen, keep hitting that
cut man is his brother Yaya.
The idea is keep the distance, keep behind the jab. That's all I want you to do.
That's where the cut comes from. But Rahman has a lot of scar tissue over both of his eyes, too. So it seems like he's had quite a few cuts in his previous fights.
Rahman had another big round jabbing in the 5th. He's averaging 100, or I should say he's averaging 33 jabs per round. He's thrown 165 of them already in the fight. Again, Del Torrance said to Rahman, a round to go. Just win all the rounds with your jab. That's the plan.
Come on, pick him up.
Tony comes back with a little bit more fire now to begin the 6th after having taken some of the 5th round off. Good, quick left hook inside by James Toney, landed perfectly.
But he's punching on a big, strong, solid super heavyweight, and his body strength is still not that much more of a cruiserweight, light heavyweight, and that's the difference.
You know, whatever we say about Tony and his middleweight hands, he's got a heavyweight head in terms of his ability to take a punch. And that's why he's been able to survive in this division.
Well, and the relaxation that you spoke about earlier certainly figures into that.
But James fights like the old school fight. He rolls. He very seldom gets hit with a clean punch. See, right there, he rolled his shoulder and came back with a little counter right hand right after that. And you look at him, he's very few scars or bruises on his face because he's one of the best defensive fighters out there with those shoulder rolls that he does.
The two guys that you see frequently use that shoulder roll to great effect, Tony and Bernard Hopkins, two old school fighters who know how to roll with a punch and fire back.
And fire right hand right back. They'll roll a right hand and come back with the right hand.
Crowd gets restless now, looking for more action like they saw in the early rounds. Tony no longer able to move on his feet, seemingly. Leans against the ropes, and Rahman gets a chance to wail away, not really landing anything big, but tapping Tony on the shoulder, tapping him on the ribcage. James comes back with a 3 or 4 punch combination. Tony lands an uppercut. Good left hook to the body. Fast hands by Tony. Rahman throwing more and continuing to land.
Tony will fight good right here because his legs are gone. He doesn't have the legs. So as long as he's in one spot, he's okay.
Well, this is one of the reasons why Fel Torrance asked Rahman to back away when Tony lays against the ropes like that. He doesn't want Tony to get the advantage of supporting himself against the ropes.
Absolutely.
I can almost hear Fel between rounds coming up saying, take him back to the middle of the ring and fight him out in space.
But Rock would feel that by using his strength, he's just going to muscle him inside still.
Now, is Rock flagrantly leaning on James here to try to wear him out?
Yes, he is. He feels very good about his conditioning right now. And once again, you see the same thing. The excessive weight is just too much for him to maintain his balance after he throws a punch.
Deep breath. One more. Very nice, okay? Now here. Every time you run the combinations, it's there for you. Okay? You gotta keep running those
Trying to rest. So when you go to the rope, just use your jab. Keep winning the fight with your jab, okay? Okay, what round is this?
That was into the 6th again.
Okay, all right, good.
Rock, it's an easy fight if you keep on into the stick. He's just looking to fight you inside and be lazy.
That's right. If you let him lay inside, he's going to rest and he's going to fight the conditioning show.
A live look at the boardwalk in Atlantic City on a chilly March Madness night. Big crowd inside Boardwalk Hall for this first step toward possible coherency in the heavyweight division.
Come on, don't use your elbow.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
You know, Jim, Hasim Rahman has won 3 rounds in a row, without doubt. 4, 5, and 6. He's doing all the fighting. James Toney really hasn't picked it up the way he did the early rounds. 58, 56, 4 rounds to 2, Rahman. But listen, let me say one thing about the cut. If the fight gets stopped because that cut gets made worse by legal blows, we go to the scorecards because we're beyond the 4th round.
Eddie Cotton did confirm that the cut was seen by the New Jersey Commission as due to accidental butt. Now we go into the second half of the fight. Tony begins to land those quick counter shots again. 2 right hands in there. And a right hand uppercut. Rahman getting hit from various different angles. Rock still busy. Busier than you expect for a 238-pound man.
I think he's convinced that James Toney can't hurt him.
That's a big advantage if it's true.
Yes.
You know, and we wondered going into the fight whether Rahman could maintain his confidence against a guy who's really difficult to fight, somebody unlike anybody he's fought before. And so far it seems that Rahman is very much in control of himself and still trying to follow the game plan.
Yep, it's fighting a very disciplined fight, very confident too.
It's a pretty simple plan, guys. Jab, jab, jab again, be bigger, be stronger, be in better shape.
But I think still, if he, good as it may seem, if he was with a real true heavyweight, hitting him the way he's been getting hit, he would have some problems tonight, believe me. Just that James just doesn't have that punching power as a heavyweight.
Stiff jab by Tony.
James lands the more cleaner punches by far. Now, if Rockwood gets himself tired and exhausted to the degree where James is, James liable to turn the fight around because James fights very well when he's tired and exhausted.
Rahman insisted to us he's ready to fight a hard 12 rounds. He said, I've never been readier in my career to fight a hard 12 rounds.
But this round, to me, looks very promising for James.
Because he's starting to land sharply
He's
again.
landing punches, and Rahman's getting a little sloppier with his delivery, and I can see James's mind starting to think a little bit now. James is used to those type situations. Sometimes he may go 12, 15 rounds in the gym and fight the last 7 rounds while he's exhausted.
Rahman lands a right hand and throws his 30th jab of the round as the bell sounds, and Rahman raises a glove, going back to the corner as if to say to the crowd, I'm in control here. You can see it.
Where's the eyes? Get some eyes on it.
Second win now, baby.
Yeah, okay. When you lay in there, Rob, when you lay in there, you got rest and get a chance to steal those punches, okay? When you hit the rope, just use your jab. Just pick it with your jab. And jab the body, keep him off balance, okay? Give me a good round behind your jab. Don't let him steal those rounds, okay?
Steal her round?
No, don't let him lay in there and rest.
You gotta start grouping your shots.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop laying inside. Keep him on the end of the stick.
Now he's working right behind your jab. Your jab's landing every time, okay? That's a beautiful, quick jab you got. Put the right hand over top of that for me, okay, son? You just
Emmanuel Stewart, James Toney, by his own admission, only likes to spar in the gym. He doesn't like to jump rope. He doesn't like to hit the speed bag. He doesn't like to hit the heavy bag. He likes to get into the ring and spar. He believes he sparred as many as 300 rounds for this fight, which would be a super extraordinary number. Can you be fully conditioned to fight solely and simply through sparring?
Yes, you can. I mean, if I have to choose between all of the other training techniques, I would take sparring over everything else. Even forget running, forget beating any bag, because that's closest to the reality.
Hard right hand by Toney over the top. His best punch in a couple of rounds. Rahman comes back with a right hand, chopping, but without a lot of power on it. Rock may, in fact, be tiring. He tries to put together a little burst here. Toney's hand speed coming back, and he's landing with sharp impact again, as was the case in rounds 2 and 3.
Rock is fighting a smart fight, but he still hasn't shown me the speed that I would have thought if he'd have got punches out with a little bit more speed and intensity.
He lands a series of right hands there, crashing a couple of them off the top of Toney's skull. Toney gets to show you again how well he takes a punch, but Rock is able to move Toney with the right hands. Now Toney lands another right hand, and there you see the absence of balance, which may hurt Toney on the scorecards.
Yeah, so that's because of that extra weight and as well as age. It was just too much for him. You notice he very seldom throws a right hand. He comes back with a left hook, meaning Toney. Because after he throws the right hand, his balance is just too far off.
Stop right there, stop right there, stop right there.
Emmanuel, you often talk about how judges will score the blood, score the cut, score the damage they see in a fight. Will they score the bodies?
I don't think so.
I think it's about the leather, right?
I think it's about the leather in this case, yeah.
As each round goes by, there's less and less footwork, more and more grappling on the inside. Does that favor the bigger, stronger Hasim Rahman, or does it favor the quicker, more technically crafty James Toney?
It should favor Rahman, but in this case, yeah, I just they go along with James, because James is used to this type. And as I told you, his balance is very bad, and by fighting in this close right here, you don't have to worry about his balance. And he's very, very cagey inside with short punches.
But I think Rahman has landed with more power in this round than in the 2 or 3 preceding rounds, although Toney gets him with a sharp comeback right hand there. Good counter uppercut by James Toney.
Rahman lands some good punches, but I think the more cleaner blows still are landed by Toney, just he don't have the power to hurt Rahman.
Toney landed a flush left hook. Rahman kept on coming. Crowd is starting to chant Toney, Toney, Toney. Rahman may be willing to lose a round to make Toney work for a full last minute of the round.
He made him work that round.
And now Rahman raises both gloves. If body language can win the fight, Rock is making the effort to do that.
He feels very comfortable with the way that the fight is moving.
Don't lay inside, guy. The idea is okay? The guy's dead tired. Only time you get a chance, he rests when you lay inside, okay? Okay? Now use your left jab, and I want you to listen. Don't finish your punch with the right hand. The only time you give him a shot. Every time you throw your right, you got to come back with your left hook, okay? Get on the other side with a double shot.
All right, you put that overhand right and come back with the hook for me, okay, son? All right?
He's hard, man.
Deep breath. Second up. It's the heavyweight championship.
Right here you see James Toney throw his right hand, miss it, lost his balance, and therefore it looked maybe to some of the inexperienced people that he'd been hit by a hard right hand and knocked across the ring, but it was really just a case of his balance.
A rare occurrence so far in that round. Rahman landed as many power shots as Toney did. Both of them landing 20, 21 power shots in the round.
on, don't use elbow.
Rahman should have the advantage boxing Tony in the center of the ring like this. But both fighters are now tired as they get to the 9th of a scheduled 12. There's a terrific straight right hand by Tony. Del Torrance keeps telling Rahman, don't finish with the right hand, come back with the left hook. He's trying to get Rock to stop that counter right hand to Tony.
That's right, and the same thing I hear Freddie Roach is telling James that he come back with a left hook.
Since he's been a heavyweight, Tony has tended to dominate the late rounds of his fights.
Don't use elbow. Come on, don't use elbow.
But Tony's in hibernation a little bit here now as he waits for another opportunity, and Rock continues to tap, tap, tap.
Blood coming out of the mouth of Rahman.
Rahman's playing right into James Tony's hands right now. By standing and fighting, letting James rest on the ropes, take his time, and even though Rock with his punching is more like Ali call it a washwoman type, nothing that effective. He just throwing punches, but nothing is really landing. He's wearing himself out, and James going to land those clean punches is going to catch the attention of the fans and the judges.
Remember, Del Torrance wants Rahman to try to bring Tony back to the center of the ring so that James doesn't get to lean against the ropes like this. Good right hand inside by Rahman. Tony countered with a right of his own. They're fighting directly above us, and they're fighting as though in a phone booth. Tony looks down as if he wants to talk to me about it. James Toney totally aware of everything around the ring. Good combination by Rahman, who didn't let Tony answer that time. Right hand over the top by Rahman, right hand over the top by Tony. Well, you said Rahman was playing into Tony's hands, Emmanuel, but at the end of the day, Rock scored more on the ropes.
He finished up with a good round. I thought that Tony would explode at the end of the round, but he didn't. Good round for Rahman.
Give me some guard from that. Okay. WBC more guard.
All right, Rock. Okay, now listen. When you lay inside, he lay in, he rests, and he want to steal a puncher. Now you got to keep your distance, okay? And don't finish your puncher with your right hand, okay? Finish right. Now give me a double and triple shot. Now I want you to dig him to the outside and come right straight up to center, okay? Dig him to the outside, come right in center. And when you back rope, go back to your jab. Okay? Good jab, that's all I want, okay?
Don't lay inside.
Yeah, don't lay inside. Just go back to your
Make it
jab.
harder than it has to be.
And when
Come
you
on,
finish
let's go to
out-
work. Pick up the pace.
When you finish,
James Toney threw only 42 punches by CompuBox count in the 9th round. That's his low output of the fight. Hasim Rahman was again very active. He threw 79 punches. We're into the last 3 rounds of a pretty good fight. Seems like a close fight. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, 87, 84, 6 rounds to 3, Hasim Rahman. Jim, he's just outworking him, landing the cleaner shots. Jim, I got a comment. When James Toney goes, he loses balance, goes flying across the ring, the judges can see that it's not a clean blow that's knocking him across the ring and making him lose his balance. I mean, you can't fool a judge by losing your balance, that's for darn sure. But that cut is looking nastier, and remember, if they do stop the fight, we go to the scorecards. That's the Rahman cut.
I have it 5-3-1 for Rahman.
Bottom line is if Harold Letterman's right, and if there are no knockdowns, Tony would have to win the last 3 rounds to pull out a draw. Rahman clearly tiring, still able to pump the jab, although in the last round he dropped to 29, but still, if the mandate was to throw 30 jabs around, generally speaking, Rahman has fulfilled that. And he jabs again to the body as he comes inside.
Come on. Come on, let's go.
It's interesting. After the first right hand that Rahman landed on Tony, I think, in the first round, I haven't saw Rahman land too much of a really devastating clean punch since then. He's winning the fight, but James Toney's defense is still amazing. The most punch he gets hit with is the jab. And outside from the jab, he's getting away from most of those power shots.
Well, Hasim Rahman told us yesterday, he said, I have to jab. I have to focus on the jab. I have to build every round behind it. If he wins the fight, he will have won it with his jab.
But about the same time, James has landed probably about 15 or 20 clean, impressive blows during the course of the fight.
You know, the cut above Rahman's left eye is in a very bad position. They've done a good job in his corner. It has not compromised him so far. There's a straight left hand into the face of Hasim Rahman. And you can see how easily he walks through James Toney's punching power at this point. But Toney can change the pace and suddenly pull out the 95-mile-an-hour fastball to shock you. Rahman pushing, hunting and pecking, trying to find a new way to hit Toney to the body. Pretty close round 10. As usual, Rock has been busier.
Rock is pushing the fight and actually doing what he's supposed to do. But if James just doesn't have the stamina to punch, but every time that James wants to punch, he pretty much lays his blows.
But Rahman finishes the round with a good left hook. And we'll go to the last 2 rounds of the fight with the judges holding the hammer for the moment.
Side. But you get on the left side and mix those shots up.
That's
Okay?
good. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay? Okay? Give me a good round shot. Okay? Now, if you go back to your jab,
306 jabs in 10 rounds for Hasim Rahman. Manny, I said if he wins the fight, he wins it with the jab.
Yes, the jab has been the most effective punch for him.
How many great heavyweight champions over the years have built their dominance on the jab? Joe Louis, great jabber. Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, tremendous jab. Lennox Lewis, dominant when he threw 30 jabs per round.
Yep. I wonder if Toney feels a sense of urgency now, whether he has been able to calculate what's happening here. He is the challenger for this title. Does he have to do more to take the title?
Rahman's never had a knockout past the 10th round. James Toney's done it twice. But to ask Toney to knock out a much larger, better conditioned heavyweight under these circumstances is asking a bunch.
It's going to be pretty difficult in this case here.
Hard right hand by Toney. His best punch in 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, and they're trying to, but James doesn't get hit with right hands, but he just doesn't have that power.
No, you don't have to guess, Emmanuel. It's a fact, because we have seen Rahman go down from punches like that from natural heavyweights, let's say.
Oleg Maskaev knocked him all the way out of the ring in Atlantic City. And of course, Lennox Lewis
and David
knocked him
Tua
nearly cold with a right hand in Las Vegas, and David Tua as well. Corey Sanders knocked Rahman down. That was a wild slugfest that Rahman came back to win.
Yep, very determined.
Stop right there.
Very determined performance by Rahman.
But those were big heavyweight punches. Not the kind of puncher that James Toney is.
Stop.
More of a sharp, technical puncher. Right hand to the body by Toney. Crowd gets restless. They seem to want more action, not recognizing that the 2 guys have fought at a fast pace for nearly 11 rounds and are tired.
Both are tired, especially James.
Rahman with a little quick right hand inside, and he got away as Toney tried to counter. Now Toney with that big right hand over the top. Trying to catch Rahman on the
There,
cut out.
there you go again. He rolling Rahman's right hand and countering back with his right hand.
But even if Tony wins the round, he would seem to be up against it on the scorecards because Rahman has generally been able to outwork him through the fight.
And that's what it's coming down to. Because punch for punch, James is a more active puncher, but he just doesn't have the stamina to have a good output. His output is just too long.
Both fighters momentarily off balance there. Tony wanted a chance to go after Rahman, didn't get it. We got 3 minutes to go to determine who this heavyweight belt will belong to.
We gotta win these rounds, okay?
Gotta win.
No, this ain't right. Yeah. We gotta win. We gotta win these rounds. Okay. Don't give him away. The guy's laying around. He's laying around so he can make a big spurt. Okay.
We need this round. You hear me?
We need it bad.
Okay? All right? We don't
Last
want
round,
to
James. Let's touch love.
We don't want to leave this to judges here, all right? Let's go out there and throw some combinations, okay? You bite down hard. All right, bite down hard. Go out there and work your ass
walk out
off.
of here, son.
Okay.
See that dog?
You throw them shots over. You gotta double them shots, double them punches. Okay. Double punches. And don't lay on him, Rob. You only got.
Okay.
Let's go to work. Let's go.
In the 11th round, by CompuBox count, Hasim Rahman threw exactly twice as many punches as did James Toney. As we go to the 12th round, you have to wonder, did Toney shortchange himself in the gym too much?
Well, Freddie Roach was telling him, in effect, you got to knock him out. You got to hit him about 30 of those shots.
Rahman tapping with the right hand. Both fighters are going to try to show a burst of energy here as round 12 begins. Quick left hook lands for Tony. And the jab as Rahman comes forward. Rahman has been an increasingly easy target as his foot movement has waned and his jab has begun to diminish. But still, working, throwing more punches.
He's definitely outworking James Toney.
Rahman is showing desire tonight, and sometimes it's been missing.
He's showing desire, but he's also showing, to me, a weakness in his defense. I see so many flaws in his defense that a real, true big heavyweight may would take advantage of. He's been, Tony's pretty much hit him at will whenever he wants to.
There's a right hand over the top that lands for Rahman. And Tony smiles. That usually means I got hurt a little bit.
Yeah, but he was rolling. Even though he got hit with the punch, he was rolling away from the punch. It didn't take the full impact the way it looked.
We're halfway through the round, and if Freddie Roach was right, Tony's a half a round away from losing because Roach, as Larry pointed out, was in effect saying you need a knockout.
Is this the end of the heavyweight fantasy and run of James Toney?
Get up. Get up.
I wonder if some fans are booing right now for a guy that they bet to the level of 2-to-1 favorite in the fight, realizing that he did not truly condition himself to try to become heavyweight champion.
And he spared all of those rounds, everything. Was just wondering how did he still have that type of weight on him and still to be 5'9".
Well, people close to him say, they whisper, he has an eating disorder. He simply cannot stop himself from eating.
That's the only thing that could explain
Hey,
it.
Jim, he was fighting 50 pounds less than this just 3 years ago when he fought for the cruiserweight title.
77 pounds tonight, above the weight at which he knocked out Michael Nunn to win the middleweight title in 1991. But of course, the judges hold the cards here. It's not out of the question that Tony has won it with his sharper, better connects. At the end of the day, Rahman is the one who has looked more the winner. Rahman has been able to work harder and throw more punches. Both fighters raise gloves. Rock raises his higher.
James still fought a very, very determined fight. Just a little too much, I think, in terms of the physical strength and all the extra weight that he had on him.
Harold, how'd you score it?
You know, Jim, I was wrong. Before the fight, I really thought that James Toney was going to do better. Hasim Rahman fought a very, very gutty fight. 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4. Rahman, he outworked him the entire fight. He deserves this decision.
He closed the show throwing 90 punches in the 12th round. Hasim Rahman said to us yesterday, I'm conditioned to fight 12 rounds. At the end of the day, he was. Certainly to a greater degree than the opponent who was in the ring with him. Let's take a look at the judges who will be scoring the fight and providing the verdict. Tommy Kazmarek, veteran New Jersey judge, notable fight, had James Toney a 15-13 winner over Mike McCallum in their first fight. But that was for, for McCallum, not for Toney. John Stewart, notable fight, Juan Manuel Marquez, 115-110 for Pacquiao in that noteworthy draw. Marquez against Pacquiao. Stewart was favoring the aggressor there. If he favored the aggressor here, that would be Rahman. And Nobuaki Uratani from Japan, only 5 title fights, scored Rahman versus Barrett last August, one-sidedly for Hasim Rahman. Michael Buffer has the verdict. Let's find out what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. John Stewart scores the contest 117-111 for Rahman. Tommy Kazmarek scores the bout 114 even. Nobuaki Vantori scores the bout 114. By majority rule, the bout is a draw. Still WBC heavyweight champion of the world. The title is retained by Hasim "The Rock" Rahman.